Hello there, folks.
Hi there!
So it's yet another episode of Würfel Cast. It's
Hooray!
episode 33, I think. Is it?
I
what
don't
episode?
really keep track of that, but somewhere around there.
Yeah, but I mean, like this one is a kind of a special episode. So under the number, but we're gonna go through my top 100 games of all time. Not all of them, 50 of them, because as we do it,
That's a lot of games.
Yeah, once every other week, then making you wait for like 4 months to do all my 100 in parts of 10. That would be gruesome. So yeah, that's why we're doing that in this
Is that
way.
what it would be?
Yeah. But first of all, I want to say that my philosophy behind the top 100 I do is different from the usual list we do together here. Like, for example, if we do like worker placement games or obscure games or whatever, area control games, whatever we do. And yeah, this, I look at them from the perspective of having that theme around it. But with top 100, there are different measures and things like nostalgia. Like, I don't own most of these games, but because of my policy of 50 games, I own only 50 games at most. I can own 50 games at most. But the games that I keep are not always the best of the best, the games that I had the most fun with. Let's say for like certain period of time or nostalgia or anything like that, these are the games that work for my collection, that are fine with different groups and different people that I play with. So I can have games for family. I can have, like they say in the Dice Tower, welcoming games. I can have some heavy games. I can have some area control games that people really enjoy, and I enjoy too. But it might not be on my overall top 100, like high on my overall top 100. So the philosophy behind this one is weird that I have. I looked at my top 100. Yeah, I mean, like my top 30 are, yeah, that's really good. I mean, like, but all the rest are. I don't feel like the numbers in my 100 through 51 matters so much. Like 51 is not so much worse than 55 or something like that. So.
In fact, it's better.
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, sorry, it's not like better, yeah, but I mean, like, it doesn't matter that much. But these are the games that I enjoy, or I did enjoy, because I haven't played some of them. I haven't played for years, but they, yeah, I mean, but you can play all the games, but I mean, the nostalgia and the fun I got from these games, I think they deserve to be on that top 100 for that reason. So, without further ado, let's share my screen over here. It's PGG.
I'm ready.
We're gonna go with the usual progression, and I'm not gonna go with intros for each game. I'm gonna name the game right away, and then we're gonna dive into it. I'll give you my comments, and then Kyle, you'll give your comments about my pick.
Very well.
That's why you're here.
That is why I'm here. That's my job.
That's the job. All right. So, my number 100 is the game called Tapestry. And let's get back here and find Tapestry. And as you can see, Tapestry is on a number 100. And some people might think that, wow, that's too low, and some people might think, oh, that's too high. Or there's different people who like the game a lot or who hate the game. Like, it's all because of a ton of that hype that came with the game, and people realizing that it's not the game that they wanted it to be or something like that. It's a puzzle. It's not a civilization game in traditional way. It's a puzzle with inconsistencies of like history itself, but it's like alternative world. It's hard to describe. It's a Civ themed game, I would say. But what I like about this game is the simplicity of it. You move on those tracks trying to maximize your resources so you can move more on those different tracks and getting more of the buildings out, getting more of the stuff on the board, getting those huge buildings, basically. Maybe one of my least favorite parts about that one are those big, huge buildings, because it's just a polyominoes puzzle, and I'm not good at that, and I don't like this kind of puzzles. I don't like this kind of games. You will not find any of the polyominoes games on my top 100, because I'm not into them. But the variety of civilizations, different combos, and those abilities and those tracks, the smoothness of the play itself, though being a long game, is still great. I like that. I like having this kind of a tactical decision going on each time I play this game. And as I said, there are parts of the game that I hate, but they are not so overwhelming. Like, for example, the one of the tracks is the last part of the track is where you get a new civilization, and the civilization can be a help for you, and it can be a total zero for you. And that's where I feel like they should have designed it in the other way. Like, added, like, every civ could have like an ongoing ability that you can use like later in the game as well, or something like that. You know, if you pull extra civ and you went up that track, all the way up the track, you need to have a strong benefit out of that. And I got, out of 4 games, in 3 games, I got civilization that gave me 0, total 0. So that's Tapestry, my number 100.
Okay, well, I quite enjoyed Tapestry. I've enjoyed it. When I first played it, I liked it, but it has really grown on me with time. So and I've quite enjoyed the expansion as well. I think it added a lot of good things to it. It's a game that, you know, is not particularly thematic, but it's fairly easy to teach to people, and that's always good. And I don't know, I've had a good time with it. In fact, I have a sort of an urge to play it these days as well. So there you go.
Yeah. The expansion didn't add that much. It added one of the buildings that you could have like on your own. Nobody else can build it. Only you can build it. That's fine. But I wanted to have more from this expansion. I wanted to for Jamie to fix few problems that the game has. But maybe in the next expansion, we'll see. Maybe in the next expansion we'll make it amazing and it will rise in my top 100. All right, let's go away from that. And let's go to my next game, which is Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. And Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, let me find it here. This one is a weird game for me. I do enjoy it quite much. But I mean, like, with this game, this is a worker placement game, but in a tiny box. I mean, like, I don't like tiny games, to be honest, because it's not like they feel cheap, but there are some things that are cut off from this experience that I could get with it being a bigger game. I don't know how to explain that. But this one, I still do enjoy it. You have a worker placement, you get the dinosaurs, then you sell them, or something like that. You give them away for contracts, and then you get points from those contracts. But you have to fence them, you have to get food, you get those science cards, which are like special abilities, something like that. And it just works. For such a tiny box, this game just works. I like that.
Yeah, I was kind of underwhelmed by Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. I don't know. I found the way that you had to do a public goal to do your private goal was weird. It required a little bit too much forward planning. Like, you really had to do things, you had to plan one full turn ahead, and the fact that someone else could go in and take what you wanted could really upset things. I don't know. I didn't hate it, but I really was not blown away by it at all.
I see, yeah. There are some issues here as well, so that's why it's number 99.
Okay.
All right, let's go to number 98. I wanted to say 89, but 98.
Okay.
Which is... I'm going to jump. The other games are garbage.
Well, that'll make the list faster.
Yeah. So another game is Barrage. 98,
Okay.
Barrage. Do I pronounce it right? Barrage?
Barrage, yeah, that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. So, this one is the. Who cares? It's some kind of a Tabletopia version here. But I mean, this game is also a worker placement game, but with a cool twist of building those dams. And is it also a prototype? But you'll get the idea, something like that. So, I don't know why all the pictures are like the most prolific pictures on the front are the prototypes. But in this one, yeah, you have to get the energy. You have to build those dams, and you have to kind of connect things so they will flow in your way, so you can get more things, more points. What I like about this game is your own board, which you kind of like as in Scythe. You take those things out, and they uncover some bonuses or some extra things that you can do now or get better or something like that. Kind of building yourself up, building your economy up and engine up. And I like that in games. And the worker placement works, fulfilling the contracts and getting those energy things, whatever, you know. And it's rather thematic for, like the main board is rather thematic. And the, not the Mancala mechanic, but kind of the mechanic of rotating wheel. I like that as well, where you spend the resources and they come back to you in few turns. So like you never spend the resources and then you have to go and get them again, but you have to go and get them again because you're only gonna get them in like 4 turns and then it's too late. You have to get more and more and more, which I like, which is cool. So Barrage, mine 98.
Yeah, you know, this is one that I'm kind of surprised that you like as much as you do. I like it. I mean, I got it fairly early. I did upgrade those wheels to the wooden ones because the ones that came with the game, yeah, there were some problems with the production in the game, but that's okay. I mean, they've been fixed with time. And I find it to be an interesting game, an interesting worker placement game that I did consider when we did our list last time. I do find that it is a little difficult to teach to people, and this is one where I think the expansion really helps it because it gives you just a couple more things that you can do. You can sort of have kind of custom worker placement spots that will change from game to game, and you have to build something so you can make them sort of something that only you can use. I kind of I always enjoy that kind of thing.
Yeah, I haven't played with the expansion, and if like you are thinking about why I like this game. The thing about it, I like thematic heroes. I like where the theme works. And if the theme works, then the mechanics start to work for me better. You know, it's like I connect with the game more if the theme is there. So, Barrage, number 98. I always want to say 89, I don't know why. Maybe my 89 is a really good game.
Have you been studying German?
Yeah. 98? Is it 98?
That's 98, yes.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yeah. Remember that. All right, my number 97 is a game that you would think would be higher on my list, and I thought as well. But after playing it again, I realized I played only the base game. I realized that this game needs a spice. Sorry, I wanted without the intro. 97. It's Vindication. Vindication is it looks like a huge sprawling game, but it's really not. It's a rather simple. The base game itself is rather simple game where you're moving around those different triangular spaces, uncovering new places, and you can convert this cube into another cube, and then kind of like that, You have your kind of action points, which are your cubes, and then you convert them onto those different circles, which are different powers or something like that, so you can get more allies, you can go fight the monsters, it's so hero-y. Get the magical stuff. Well, I don't remember all the names of those different cards, but basically you're building yourself up very in a very Euro-y style. And it's cool, I like that. The base game, though, is not so... It lacks the excitement of exploration, because I like exploration games. And here, exploration is not so well thought of, in my opinion. I wanted to have like a bigger thing, like if I uncover something, I get something huge, or I get maybe something not so good, but that's where the risk of exploration is. Here, I just try to find the spots that where I can exchange this into that, and resource conversion is abundant. I mean, like it's done. But the game works. It's still a really good game. I like it. But I think I need to put in a few modules expansions to see if it changes the experience for me. And I like the end game of this. Like you uncover even more end game triggers, and then the game becomes faster or riskier. They will end right away. You know.
Mm-hmm. So. Now, have you played with all of the modules that are in the box? And
no, that's the thing.
More beyond that? Oh, okay. Okay, so you just
that's
played...
the thing.
Okay. Because the game, does come with several different modular expansions that you can add in. Some are better than others. And
that's what I wanted to do. Yeah.
There's another 2 expansions that are currently out, and another one that's coming soon. So there's definitely a lot that's there.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm going to try with the modules and see if it kind of fixes this problem of like excitement for me.
Yeah,
all right.
I wouldn't mind playing that again soon.
All right, my number 96 is an abstract game called Onitama. And Onitama, though I don't own it, because it's a 2-player game, and I don't know most
huge.
of these games. And it's huge, yeah.
Though
it's being, yeah, I'm kidding. Though it's being a small game, Onitsama is a really clever game. 5 cards, few pieces. It's a tactical movement. You use the card, you put it in the center. You kind of the cards are changing, ever changing, and then you kind of want to outsmart your opponent, trying to get to the side of the board, etc., or catch the central piece, etc. So it just works for an abstract game. It's fast, it's cool, it's a good production in my opinion.
That it
is. It being a 2-player game, that's what stops me from owning it, because I don't play 2-player games, really. Or if I play those 2-player games, we usually play bigger games. Those small 2-player games, they just don't... I cannot get them out on the table. So eventually I got rid of basically all of them. And I'm not gonna... Yeah, I mean, like, I have some games up on my list that I really like, but they just don't fit my collection as it is. So, Onitama, my number 96.
Okay.
Nothing to say?
I enjoy Onitama. I find it... Maybe it's just a bias against this type of a game. I like them, but I never have an experience with them that's amazing. So, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, it takes a lot for an abstract game like this to get me really excited. But I do enjoy it. I've played it many times, and I've always had a good time with it, just never an amazing time.
All right. Okay, so let's go to number 95. My number 95, I do really like the excitement of poker, where you uncover things, and same is for Dice Town. Dice Town has this poker element, but it's with that dice rolling as well, like Yahtzee mechanic, and you can spend money to reroll stuff, to keep stuff, some of the dice, etc. You can mitigate the luck there. But the cool part about the Dice Town, I don't see if any... Okay, let's just put this picture. Cool part about the Dice Town is the rolling of the dice in those cups and trying to get the poker hands, whatever they are. I don't remember them. 3 in a row, or
yeah,
like I don't remember the names of them at all. I haven't played poker in like years, but everything else is grabbing some of the ability cards, gold nuggets, and the land cards, which give you points at the end of the game. It's simple, but it works. And the central mechanism of rolling those dice, Yahtzee in a different way. That's what I like about this game. Dice down, my number 95.
Yeah, I quite enjoy this game. It's one that I haven't played in a long time, but I've always had kind of an affinity for it, and it has another. It also has an expansion that's pretty good. This is a good game. It's one.
I think I played with the expansion. What the expansion adds the what it adds?
It adds some Indians. I remember that.
Oh
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
adds some things for the. Like the place that you go if you don't get anything, it makes that a little bit better.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's why I wanted to play with the expansion, of course. Yeah. Sure.
So, no, I enjoy this. It looks good. Even the paper money isn't so bad. So
it isn't.
It's nice quality. I like
glossy.
This game.
Yeah.
I need to play this again.
Yeah. All right, let's go to number 94. My number 94, it might surprise you. It's Innovate the Snowfolk. Innovate the Snowfolk. I like this game quite much, and it's a beautiful game. It's a card game. It's an easy game. I played this game quite a few times on the last Dice Over cruise that was.
I remember.
Still happening. So yeah, and you could imagine that I probably enjoyed this game, but I enjoyed teaching it as well because it's not so hard to teach this game, and it's a very accessible game. But you're basically building up those rows of cards, and you're trying to get the most points. Extremely easy. But the cool part about that is when you get those people, you're trying to collect your own colored circles first of all, because the other ones will give you minus points, you give like plus points to the other players, and also you are collecting them under the different spots, so you can make those spots stronger. For example, if I have 2 cards under Whaler, I can take 2 orcas from the center of the table instead of 1, and you're trying to kind of build this up and see where you're going, but you can get more people if you don't have more cards under Elder and etc. So there are cards in the center of the table that you're going to grab each round, and you want to grab more each time. So I like this build up. And there are some modules as well that I haven't played with the modules really, because I thought like maybe it takes away from the simplicity of that. I don't know. I didn't want to learn that at that time. But I still enjoyed this game, and it's beautiful. It's cool theme, though being themeless. I don't know. Just a cool game. It does not.
Yeah. I've not played it at all. I know you enjoyed it. You were playing it several times on the cruise, but I was always playing something else. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try it someday. I just really don't have any comments. It doesn't really look very exciting, but
yeah, it's so simple. It also surprises me how much I liked it, but it's so extremely simple. But yeah. All right, my number 93 is another abstract game, but that's the abstract game that I don't mind playing with too, because it's very fast, and it's Barony, my number 93. and Barony with the Sorcery expansion. I think I did the review for the Sorcery expansion as well, as we have the review of Barony as well. But to be honest, Barony, when you start building this thing up, like when I looked at this game a long time ago in Essen, I was like, it doesn't look so exciting. The cover, the theme, everything is like, no, it's not exciting. But once you start playing that and putting everything on the board, all those different wooden meeples and things and knights and castles and villages, it kind of blossoms, it becomes more beautiful if you have it like in front of you. And basically what you're trying to do, you're trying to claim the lands and build yourself up, trying to cut off the others and get more points eventually. There's a track. And you have all those different actions you can do. They're rather simple. You do one thing on it, I think 1 or 2 things on the turn. But yeah, the turns are really simple. That's what I know. So Yeah, and you're collecting those different kind of not these are like points or resources, basically like action points or resources that you collect from these tiles, and then you spend them to get the bigger scoring. But when you spend them as points as well, so it's like a twist there. I like it.
Yeah.
Barony.
It's been a long time since I tried Barony. I remember enjoying it. I just don't remember really anything about it, other than there was some weird noble track, and the way you moved up on that was a little bit odd, but you really kind of had to if you wanted to win the game.
You're spending those resources, so you
that's
can
what
move
that
on
was.
that.
I enjoyed it. I just don't remember it.
Yeah, and also the sorcery expansion is great. It adds to this game, and what surprised me is, like, as a two-player game, it was like half an hour, and it feels bigger. It's not too good, but it feels big. But then you play it in, like, you're done in half an hour. It's great. It's a great feeling.
That's great news. I love that.
All right, so my number 92 is another two-player game, which is Kero. Kero, you heard about that one before. I already talked about that one.
Yes, I've
The one that has, the one that has those really cool trucks. Let's see if you can maybe this picture here. It's a prototype, I think, still, but let me see if I can get a better picture here, but maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, Kero is a two-player game with push your luck and dice rolling, trying to get certain symbols, as you can see here. You're trying to get the certain symbols on those dice, and you're trying to get more dice, but you have an hourglass that is your fuel, basically. You have to fuel up. Yeah, it's a truck, basically. Yeah. You put it on sideways, and then you roll dice, and like you can roll as long as you want, but if the fuel runs out while you're rolling, then you're busted, you know. But eventually you're trying to get those different cards, and also, like in Dice Town, like getting things for points eventually, and you're trying to get those some special abilities and some other tokens that help you out to be even better and getting more dice. Yeah, it just works as a game. It's hard to describe it.
It's an unusual game.
Yeah, but there's nothing really so unusual in this game.
Sure. Well, no. I did like the truck, right? It's a little bit overproduced, but it's kind of nice because you can only see half of the hourglass, so you never quite know exactly how much is left. And that part's kind of interesting.
Yeah. All right. My number 91 is For Gods. For Gods, another game that has the speed element in it, but it's a real-time, not with the hourglass speed elements. This game, it's like a speed Carcassonne. You build up those different lands, and you put out those, whatever they call the priests or the followers, the cultists, whatever they were. You put them out, and you're trying to basically have the area control and building those land masses as much as possible. And you can grab the pieces from other players, so each player will have their own array of the tiles that they have taken, and you can take from their side as well if they will not put it out themselves. And yeah, it's just a speed puzzle Carcassonne.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one. And that picture is really ugly. I don't know. It's just the outside, that rim of the board is just very... The color
outside is
scheme
not so good, yeah.
Is rather striking. I don't know. This game is very difficult to sort of teach to people because of the real-time aspect, and it has some rules that don't quite make sense, and I just never really found it very exciting. This is one that I was kind of just done with it after just a few times, unfortunately. I really wanted to like it, mostly because I think you talked about it and made it sound very exciting, but it was not for me.
Yeah, but it is an exciting game, but yeah, it's a complicated game here, so either like it or not.
Yeah, okay.
Right, my number 90 is the game that you probably will approve because it is a good game, and I think an underrated game, which is Super Mother Lode.
Yeah.
I mean, like, not talked about right now. Super Mother Lode is a digging game, like a puzzle digging game with the deck building aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I can see it here. Yeah, you can see a little bit of board, a bit of different stuff going on there. You have the deck building parts, you have the digging parts, trying to get the certain elements, and I don't know, it just works for me.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I played this one, but I did like it. The one thing I did not like is the size of the box, which makes it very difficult to store anything. But I remember it being a very slow, unusual type of deck building game. And I don't know, it felt different than lots of others. And so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, the deck building in this one isn't so strong. I think the digging part is rather strong. You're trying to get the certain parts of it. Okay, yeah. And then claim the bonuses, whatever they are. Get the most points. That's Super Mother Lode, my number 90. My number 89. Now we're gonna get to 89, and it is a good game.
Are we gonna talk about 98 now?
No, 89. It's a small game that I really want to get back to my collection, because I feel that it would work with few folks. It's Archaeology the New Expedition. Archaeology the New Expedition is a new edition of the older Archaeology the card game, I think, something like that. And this one is a straight set collection game, but you have the different tombs that have different rules on them, how you get stuff out of there. And I don't know, it's just so cool, a cool production, small game, beautiful as well, just works.
Yeah, this is a good game. It's one of those games that I find myself enjoying more than I probably even should. The newer edition certainly looks better than the older one, but either way, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, just to be honest, it's just set collection, nothing else.
Yeah, with a little sort of, I guess there's some kind
twist.
of a push your luck, right? Because you've got the tents and anyway. But I enjoy the game. It's one that I want to play again. I took it out with me when I traveled last time, but never quite got around to it.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. My number 88 is another card game, and I like to play it as a two-player game. I think even more than solo, though I played it solo as well, and I liked it. It's Arkham Horde, the card game. Arkham Horror, the card game, is the one that showed me that Arkham Horror is not... I like the Arkham Horror original one. The second edition, I think, or something like that, or the third or the fourth. I don't remember.
You like the second edition.
Second edition, okay.
I don't know if you played the third one.
I played the demo of that.
Okay.
I mean, like, I played it just a round or two. But the Arkham Horror, the card game, gives me the vibes of Arkham Horror, but in a shorter time, with less components. I like the story, but this is the LCG, and this is the game that you need to invest your time in to enjoy it fully, to build your deck, to buy new things. And I played it quite a few times, and I played solo, and I played it with two players. I like it with two players. I like to combine things. And as a card game, it's just cool abilities. Use them. Go there. Collect those book tokens or the clue tokens. Get so many clues. Uncover the new location. Go there. Fight the monster. Stuff like that. Get the dynamite out. You know, it feels thematic, but it's so low because it needs investment to enjoy it to the max.
So. Financial and time. I enjoy the game. It's one of those games, though, that because of how it's distributed, right? You've got a new story pack that comes out about every month or month and a half, but I will usually wait until I have the full sort of one full episode of all of the related stories and then play it kind of in a binge fashion, mostly so I don't forget rules and story beats in between. And so that's why I don't play it as much as perhaps I would. But when I am playing it, I will play it and nothing else. I'll spend a whole weekend playing through one of the campaigns, and I enjoy that. Recently, they've come out with character starter packs, and the way that those work is they're more designed for casual people like me. Is within the pack, it will have not only your character and your deck, but also the suggested upgrades when you get a chance to upgrade it, so you don't have to go through that huge pile of cards and pick out something. It'll kind of feed that to you so that you can have a more balanced and appropriate deck reconfiguring phase, which has always been my least favorite part, right? Because just there's so many cards that it's daunting to go through and pick something out because I don't know what's going to work. So, right. I don't know. I find that will be an interesting way to play it going forward.
Okay. All right. My number 87 is Survive, Escape from Atlantis. And I think this game, though, being a... how to say... it's a mean game.
What?
Is there a nice picture of that? Not just like custom things, but...
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
Maybe something like that. It's not. Maybe... What is this?
It's Survive, Escape from Atlantis. Lots of people showing their custom versions.
Okay.
That was like an electronic version.
This is
no, that's it.
Okay. So, sorry, yeah. But Escape from Atlantis Survive is a kind of a little bit of push-a-luck, a welcoming game, they say, but it's a mean game. You have those meeples with numbers. You're trying to get them off the island to the sides of the island, to the shores, and all the meeples that survive, there will be points at the end of the game. But somebody can have 4 meeples, but they have all low numbers, and you can have 2 meeples but high numbers, And it's always because you put them in nobody knows where are your numbers. Because they are underneath the meeples, and you have to stay like a poker face when somebody eats your high number. It was the low number, something like that. You look at them. But the cool part about that is that when you put them out, eventually you will forget. Like you know that there's that. It was somewhere here. I think one of those 3 meeples is the one with the high number, and then you're trying to get them on the boats, and then the boats are destroyed by whales, and then there are monsters and sharks eat you and things and blah, 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 and the island sinks at the same time. It's just so much fun. Survive, Escape from Atlantis.
It is fun. It definitely is not for everyone or every group. Some people who have a hard time with a lot of interaction, shall we say it, might not enjoy this game as much. And it can feel a little bit random just because you don't really have a lot of control over which of the various sea creatures you're moving, since that's controlled by a die, and maybe you really need this one to move, but you only keep rolling the stupid whale that's on the other side of the board. So it's not a perfect game, but it's very simple, and and it's enjoyable with the right group of people.
Yeah. All right. So my number 86 is Catacombs, the 3rd edition. Catacombs is a flicking game with a twist of being a dungeon crawler. And I really like playing the heroes. The only problem I have is that I feel like the Overlord, the other player playing the Overlord, and I play it as a 2-player game, sorry. You can play it as like Overlord versus like 4 players, but it's don't do that because Overlord has a ton of things they can do. They can put out these monsters and flick a lot. And you as a hero, if you have only one character, if you miss, then you have to wait for your turn again, and it's just not exciting. So that's why I like to play with, because I'm not good at flicking, I like to play with all 4 characters and then have all of my different flickings there. So as a 2-player game, it works, it's really cool, but I think Overlord is overpowered. It's just too difficult. Well, even if you both flick, not so good. I mean, like if you both fail at flicking, the Overlord is just too powerful.
Well, I don't know. I think I will agree that that side is certainly stronger since it has essentially unlimited well, what feels like unlimited resources. Obviously, the skill level does come down to how good you are at flicking things. The game is one that I really enjoy. I mean, I've liked it. It's one of the few games that I've kept my first edition just because I like to remember the difference between the two. But I have the newer one as well. It's just a very interesting game that I've loved for a long time. It is very difficult, though, to pick up and play. There's a lot of rules in there. And it's also very difficult to sort everything in a meaningful way. So there's definitely some overhead that's involved, but I really enjoy it once I finally get it out to the table.
Yep. All right. My number 85 is a game called Patch History, another civilization game. And though having quite a few problems in it, first of all, the production is not so good. Then tracking of all the different resources needs to be streamlined. Still, a really cool idea of patching cards on top of each other, covering some stuff, and then you need to decide what to cover, what to uncover, etc. And getting those, it looks cool. To be honest, if you look at these terrains, they are not so cool, but they're functional. Then you look at the art on those people. This is really cool, and those bigger cards, the wonders, etc. This is a game of optimization of your patching, basically cards upon cards. That's been implemented in many other games later on. And then you create those trade routes between players so you can get some bonuses of there. But they can also declare war on you, etc. It's a bidding game as well. The bidding being a little bit complicated as well. So
yeah, that's what I remember.
There are things that are not so well thought of, but as a game as a whole, it still works. I really like building myself up. I really like. It reminds me. I'm not restricted by this exact land that I have, like for these 4 squares. I can build it up however I want. Mm-hmm. This is my kingdom. That's what I like about this game. Patch History, my number 85.
Okay. Yeah, I enjoy it, but I don't remember it really. That's the issue. I remember that there were a lot of rules on it, and it was very difficult to learn, and I didn't love the bidding. But I remember the ideas were so interesting that I enjoyed the game nonetheless.
I would like somebody to pick it up and just do it again.
Cut out about half the rules, and
yeah. Who's the designer of that one?
For some reason, I think it was a Korean game.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
All right, so let's go to number 84, which is another twist on my top 100 because it's a story game. It's introduction to RPG, I would say, which is Legacy of Dragonhold. Legacy of Dragonhold, it's not a full game as it is. It's a story that you go through. But you have this map and you go to different locations, and it's a choose your own adventure book, basically. Mm-hmm. And you do have some decisions, and the writing here is cool, in my opinion. I don't know, it's hard for me to describe this game. It's a choose your own adventure with some items, with some RPG elements, but you're just going on with that. You're just driving that road,
right?
Just enjoying.
Yeah, it's more of a choose your own adventure book than a game, and so you do have to have that. But it's interesting. I mean, I'm wondering if it kind of feels like it was a one-time experiment, though. I don't know that. It's been out for a long time, and even though it got pretty good reviews, I haven't seen any thoughts of a sequel or an expansion or anything. So but it's an interesting kind of story experience.
Yeah, that doesn't need a game master or something like that. You just
Sure.
go through it, which is cool. I like that. Okay, so number 83 is a deck building game called Paperback. We did a video. I think it was on Board Game Blender. I think maybe the video about Paperback. Let me see here. You can see the first print set. Okay, so and Paperback is from the series of Tim Fowers, I think. Yeah, Tim Fowers was the name. Yeah, designer with those small boxes. But this is a deck building game with like a Scrabble meets deck building, basically. Yeah, you combine letters into words. You're trying to get longer words so you can have more cards out. You can have like more coins so you can buy new cards, etc. Yeah, it's hard to describe it in any other way.
Yes, it is. It's an interesting game. I enjoy this one.
Eventually, you buy those posters that you like have for the point for the end of the game. But yeah, you're trying to get the words out, and you cannot get the huge words out without getting more of these cards. And I like the cool thing about that one is that these cards have the abilities on them. And if you can get them out, you can get the abilities out as well. But they activate, not all the time, some of them activate only if you have a certain condition met. So,
yeah, it's basically a deck building game. It's a very run-of-the-mill deck building game. But the fact that you have to make a specific word, or you have to be able to make a word with the cards in order to play them, makes it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. All right, my number 82, let's go to a bigger game, which is Dungeon Pets, with Z at the end. Dungeon Pets, it's a big game. It has a lot of rules, to be honest. Lode is really famous for having huge games and lots of rules. But this one, the whole idea of managing your area where you can put the pets, and they are in cages, sometimes magical cages, and it's, caged animals is not a good message nowadays. But here works. It's a fantasy realm. It's something weird, and then you give those pets to new owners who are also magical creatures, and then basically sell them off. Sometimes there's meat on the market. Sometimes pets get lost, and then there's meat on the market. So, but the cool part about that, the cool part about it is you have those minions, and then you put the minions on different entrances, and you pile them up in different groups of minions, and it's like outsmarting your opponent stuff going on there. You're trying to be the first to do that, trying to get the most. I just like that.
Yeah.
It feels alive. It feels like a thematic game where you need to feed them, you need to take care of those pets, and they mutate sometimes, and then worker placement.
I remember liking it. I remember it had a lot of similarities with Dungeon Lords. But this one, I think, ultimately was better and improved upon the design. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I played it. I still have it downstairs. I was looking at it just the other day. But I remember liking it. I remember there being a lot going on, though. And so that was, take it or leave it. And I remember there was an expansion that I don't know if I got.
Dark Alley. Yeah. I think maybe I played it. Maybe not. I remember. But yeah, this is the game that I want to get, I want to just play it again to see if my nostalgia for that one, I played it a long time, but I remember really enjoying the game, but I want to see if nowadays, as I've played many other bigger thematic Euro games, if this one still holds, if this one is still a great experience. So, Dungeon Pets. All right, my number 81. It's an easier game, and I think a really good game, but still fallen under the radar, which is Quadropolis. Quadropolis is a city building game, And I'm not the biggest fan of city building games. I've tried few and I didn't like them that much. Quadropolis just fits because Quadropolis feels like an app game. I mean, like the art eventually makes it the app-like game. But cool part, you have those engineers, and then you put them out on those different sides of the board, thus indicating what tile from that side you're taking. The second, the third, the fourth, whatever. And there's this gray meeple that is blocking some of the ways, and you're trying to build up your own grid of different buildings, and they need to be like, this building needs to be next to the other building so they can score. This building needs a meeple, a customer, whatever, like a shop needs a customer to work, etc. This one needs a factory, this one needs energy to work, etc. But this one creates pollution, so you need to have parks. It's simple, it's abstracty, but it is thematic on the other side, because every building interacts with another building, and how they score, you need to fill out this puzzle. And sometimes, at first, especially when you start with the first few buildings, where you put them is not so crucial, but kind of is. I mean,
right.
you have to plan ahead in this one. Quadruple is a pleasant, few rules type, city building game.
Yeah, this was a huge hit for us locally when it came out. It got played all the time, and then it just kind of stopped, right? I mean, I have not touched my Quadropolis in a long time. I'm going to have to get it out again. I know it came out with an expansion, and the expansion was thoroughly mediocre. It improved, it changed, I think, the civic buildings, which were the most boring part of the game. It made those a little bit more interesting, but not, I don't know, not in a special way. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to... This one's so easy to get into that I think it might deserve another look.
It's a welcoming plus game, you know. It's somewhere there. You can put it on the table with the family, but you need to maybe play the classic version. But though the classic and the special versions are the same.
Yeah, that's true. They're not that different. I remember I liked the special version a little bit better.
Expert, sorry.
Yeah,
expert version.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
But, okay.
All right, my number 80 is also a rather easy area control with set collection, which is World's Fair 1893. World's Fair, this is one of those games where I realized there's that designer called Alex Kevern, J. Alex Kevern, and he does clever games. There's another game, I think it might be higher on my list somewhere. I don't remember exactly. But this one, I do really enjoy this game for the simplicity of it. You are getting the every majority, so you can grab the cards around it, so you can use the cards to get other things going on. It's like also like kind of a like resource conversion. You can trying to get the set collection of different colors of those, whatever they are, the tokens. And it just works, and there are some special abilities and some tickets you can ride on this attraction. It's abstract. It's hard to describe it as not non-abstract game. So
yeah,
it's clever. It works.
This one I remember liking, but it was kind of underwhelming. Right? There's not really any theme there. It was just kind of, it felt like some mechanisms that were working together, and they worked together in a simple and interesting way. I just don't remember finishing the game and thinking, aha, that's one I really want to try again soon. That said, there is a new edition. I don't know if the new edition changes anything.
I don't know.
I do know that I saw one on Amazon the other day.
Okay.
So
interesting. It doesn't say anything about that. Okay. Maybe.
Well, I mean, it might just be a reprint, but I know it changed the cover and it made it look more, I don't know, bland. That might be the word for it. And maybe Amazon was just advertising it to me and it's not out yet. But I just remember seeing it and thinking, aha, it's been a while since I played that game.
Interesting. This Amazon exclusive edition is here. It says.
Oh, well, maybe that's it.
Check. Okay, this. Oh, I see. I see. They went with the kind of a like a deluxeified kind of edition, maybe or that. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Okay. Let's go to number 78. My number 78 is called Elysium. Elysium, which is the game that I think somebody should pick it up and revise it a tiny bit to make it a little bit more exciting. And also have some few expansions and additions to the game. Because this game is cool. I like that. The art's amazing. I like how it looks. And you have those columns. And you use them to grab the cards from the center, and the cards have also those requirements of those columns. And if you have those columns in your board, on your board, then you can grab the card, and they give you some special abilities, kind of like that, and some ways to score points. But you need to get those cards down into your Elysium, which is from the upper part of your board to the down part of your board, where you are doing the set collection of. I remember there are two types of the set collection of families and set collection of like different, basically like same colors, different colors. So same colors from numbers 1 to 5 and different colors of the same number, something like that. So two different collections. It's also abstract. It works. The cool part about that is that you have several different decks, and you mix and match some of them. And so you can have the different mixtures of the overall bigger deck each game. But that's the one that needs another set of those decks. One more, with cooler abilities, with more twist. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this is one we talked about a while ago, not a couple episodes ago. I loved it when it came out, but I played it again fairly recently and was so underwhelmed by it. So I just don't know if my tastes have changed over the years. The one thing, though, that it definitely needs is if a new edition ever comes out, it needs much bigger text on the cards, because you're just constantly looking at the ones that are out on the table, and unless you're like in the right position, you just can't see them, and so you spend the whole game picking up the card to read what it says, and it really gets interferes with the game if you're playing with more than two.
Yeah.
I mean, the text is super small. There's symbols, but they don't make a lot of sense, so you really have to read the text. I don't know. That really got in the way and was kind of annoying.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. Number 80, number 78. I think I'm half German. Something happened.
Okay.
Weird. Just go with the next game. 78 is Escape from the Aliens in Outer Space.
Okay.
And this one is cool. Let me find it first. Yeah, it's here. The Osprey Games did a new edition of that. It's not like this game is extremely beautiful. It's, as you can see, rather like black and white. There are some red cards, some green cards, because they like for the purpose of functionality, and some white cards, etc. So it's a hidden movement game where some of you are aliens, like you give out the role, some of you are aliens, and some of you are the crew, and then you're trying to escape as a crew, trying to escape from the pods, and the aliens try to find. You pick the cards from the center, and sometimes you get the alarm. Basically, you have to say where you are or in what. Like sometimes you can lie, sometimes you have your own special ability, and sometimes it's silence in all sectors, etc. So like the different things that trigger where it can hint towards where you are or where the others are. And as the aliens, you can attack as well, but as the alien can attack, they can accidentally attack the other person. You have to figure out who is on your team so you will not accidentally kill each other. So that's that. So aliens, playing as aliens is cool because there's a risk you eat your own.
Right. I like this game. I think I played it with you the first time in Estonia, and it was a good game. It was enjoyable. The end game, the victory conditions are a little bit weird in the game. So, I mean, I think it's more of a game to play and enjoy rather than worry too much if you're going to win. Just because there was weirdness over, if some people died and some people joined the alien team, and so that was a little bit. It just didn't feel very resolved or satisfying if you were.
It's need to tighten up. They need to do something to tighten up the experience here. Yeah, I see. Yeah. All right. So my number 77 is a game that is so unforgiving in terms of how you choose the actions, and that's Vanuatu, the second edition. Yeah. So the second edition is a more beautiful edition of this game. I like the kind of placement, the action selection stuff here, but sometimes you can get like somebody can ruin your strategy here. It's a rather strategic game, and how you choose the actions, etc. It's unforgiving. It's in your face type of game. But I like building up those different tiles and buildings on those boards, kind of a discovery thing, building up, and those different role. It's like a role selection, like in San Juan, something like that. A little bit of that type going on here as well. So each time you choose a new one, and I like how you this turn I do this, and this turn I decide to do that instead, and this turn now I do this, and like it's exciting, but your plans can be ruined by other players as well. So be ready for that.
Yeah, I have this game, and I think I've played it, but I don't really remember it very much at all.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's not a very exciting commentary. But that's kind of how I am with it.
I see, yeah. That's fine. Okay, let's go to another game which is called 76. Number 76 is Garden Dice. Garden Dice, I liked it more when I played it the first time. And first of all, I want to say that play with the expansion, definitely. Because it adds those special cards that you can use during different phases, and it spices up the game, in my opinion. Or some counters and things to other players' mean actions, like rabbits and the bird that eats the crop and whatever. But in this game, you are just planting those different vegetables as seeds first, and then you water them, and then they become the vegetables. Then you have to harvest them, and you do that in all different ways. But the cool part of that is that all of these different vegetables are connected through those waterfalls. And if the vegetable that is being, for example, watered is a higher number, it will water all the lower numbers next to it, and then it can create a chain reaction, and sometimes not all of these vegetables are yours, or seeds are yours, which means that you can accidentally water the seeds of another player, or that's what you want to do if you plant a seed. You plant a lower seed next to somebody because you want them to do the job for you. So I like this game, but this game is because you roll your dice, and then you do all those different actions on your turn. And then the other player does that. As a 4-player game, it just drags and drags and drags. That's the problem. A cool idea. This game is really cool. Just the turn structure needs to change. Maybe the one action per person per turn. You roll the dice. They are the central dice. They work for everyone. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I liked it, but I agree, it really did drag, especially if you played with more than 2.
Yeah. All right, let's go to next one, which is... Oops, sorry. My number 75 is Hit the Road.
Ah.
Oh, la la. This is Hit the Road, yes.
Victor likes this game, so that's what the reaction was.
Look, this is the game that... I don't think I will play again.
Oh.
But this is the game that I really, really enjoyed. But the problem with this game is that it doesn't have support. And it needs to be revised a little bit. But you have, like, basically this is a push your luck dice rolling game. You choose the path of the cards, and first you get a lot of resources. As you go further into the deck, it becomes harder, and then you have to encounter zombies, and then you basically have a Yahtzee mechanic against the zombies. You try to kill them, or they kill you. If you have at least one person surviving, then you can have you can be lucky and win the game. If you, like, basically, if nobody of you, like, at the end of the journey, at least one of your people must survive, then you can count your points. If not, then not, you know. That's how it is. But it works as a push your luck game. It works as a theme. I like collecting resources and then eventually choosing the path I want to walk and getting hit by zombies eventually because I chose the wrong path. Or, like, you have to bid for being the first one to choose, and that's a cool decision because the more you bid, the less resources you have. So if I bid too much, then what's the point of me being the first if I have lost a ton of resources and I won't get them back? But if you choose last, then everybody will choose a good path, and then you're left with the most abysmal path, the hardest path, etc. So I like that mechanism. Hit your own.
Yeah. So I remember I wanted to play it, but then I kind of never got it. Nobody had it. And then Victor was here, and we went to one of the sort of game fests locally, and he got it at the flea market for like $5. And then he handed it to me and said, "Please learn these rules and teach me the game." So that's how we played it.
For $5, it's good.
I mean, it's it's perfect for $5. I didn't need it because I've got a million games, but he wanted it and he loves a bargain, and it is not a bad game. So
it needs an expansion. It needs more, but I think it will never happen. Sadly. Anyway, let's go to the next game, which is 74 Dice Stars.
Of course, we knew this one had to make your list since you talk about it every time.
I do, and it's not so highly rated roll and write game, but it's in a more traditional way of a roll and write. And in this game, you are rolling those dice at the center. You choose some of the dice from the bag. You basically blindly draw them, then you roll them at the center of the table, and then you can either take all of the same color or all of the same number. And if the more you get of the same number, of the same color, the higher points you get from that. And then you're filling up those different spaces, trying to maximize your points, and then you have stars. And if you grab the stars, you fill the spaces on the right, and if you will not fill all the spaces of that row, then you will get 0 points from that, even if you had scored from the initial, scoring here. So it will nullify your experience. But if you will get all of these stars crossed, then you will double your points for that row. So it's easy. It's easy going. It just works.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I didn't find it as nearly as engaging as you do, but I enjoyed it.
No. So my number 73, and a game that I also don't own anymore, but I did enjoy my play of it, and now there's a new version on Kickstarter that I think should be much better than this one, which is Terraforming Mars. Number 73, Terraforming Mars. This is not a bad game. It's a good game. It's in my top 100. I enjoyed my plays of it. I enjoyed the building up. I enjoyed the different aspects of this game, and getting the resources, getting your production going, engine building to the max. I like the card games with engine building, and first of all, it doesn't look so good.
That's true.
And it can be a drag sometimes. It can be a little bit overwhelming. It can be a little bit too much, you know. And of course, there were
Looks
a
like they're
million
playing with an
expansions.
expansion there.
Yeah, I haven't played any of the expansions. I played only the base game. I didn't want to dig into expansions that much, but I still enjoyed my experience with the base game.
Yeah.
It's a really cool game, but there's another game on my top 100, much higher, that has replaced Terraforming Mars, kinda. I mean, like, it
Okay.
gives it the same vibe. And I think when I get the Ares Expedition, which is the card version of, this one is also a card game though, which is a card version like San Juan type, Roll for the Galaxy type, not Roll, Race for the Galaxy, Race for the Galaxy type, Terraforming Mars, then I think I will enjoy that Terraforming Mars much more than this one. But still,
Yeah.
I want to
So I
recognize
like
it as a good game.
Terraforming
Yeah.
Mars a lot. I played it just last weekend actually, and so it holds up pretty well. Some of the expansions are amazing. Some of the expansions are mediocre, and one of the expansions is not an official one, but somebody just made, and you could buy it online from sort of a print-on-demand shop, which is the best expansion in the game. So, and that's just sort of the different goals. It's like a variable set of the goals. Anyway, I like the game. I like it a lot. I wish it looked better, and I'm excited for the big box edition that will be hopefully a little bit nicer. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah. All right, my number 72. I like mid-civ games, so the Flow of History, my number 72. The Flow of History is a civilization card game, and I like the matchup. The card games I like, civilization games I like, so this one is no-brainer, you know. But this one is the usual version. I have the deluxe version has cooler things going on, but eventually the game itself, you are building up those different cards by bidding on them first, and somebody can outbid you and grab the card instead, but you get the resources back, and you're managing those resources so you can bid on more and better cards, and you're building these different columns of cards, like the different colored ones, and then you can grab also the wonders as well, which give you points at the end of the game. You're trying to get the points at the end of the game, but once you, like, for example, once you get a new blue card, it goes over the last blue card, which basically obsoletes the previous blue card, the ability itself, and some of the icons that shows, but they will still give you the icons at the lower right corner, which also help you out. The not so cool part about that one is that you constantly need to look at all the icons that you have. You have to always count the, for example, the attack and defense symbols and etc. It just takes away from the experience a little bit, but it works as a lighter civilization card game.
Yeah.
Building columns of cards.
I was not particularly impressed with this one.
Needs an expansion. All right. Let's go to the next one, which I think you will say that it's a good pick because it is 71, Robinson Crusoe Adventures on the Cursed Island. Robinson Crusoe is... Look, this one is a huge game with lots of problems, I think, in my opinion, especially with the rules.
Sure.
Yeah. Oops. But it's a cooperative adventure worker placement game where you can build up your stuff, and it has push your luck. It has those adventure cards that you get those cards and they can bite you later if you, like, for example, I choose this thing and it can bite you later. I like that. The decision making is worth it. And it's a thematic, it's a cool experience. You explore islands, you go through different scenarios. I would love it to have not a scenario where you need to get to a certain point, but I would love it to have something in a Seventh Continent style. It has a goal, but the exploration that you do is up to you, you know, and how you build up, you know. All of these survival games, like video games as well, they have like the new game called Valheim, the video game, where you can just build your house, or you can go into the woods and hunt the animals, so you can fight the bosses. It's up to you. I want to have this kind of a Robinson Crusoe adventure. Maybe a choose your own adventure type Robinson Crusoe, something like that. I don't know.
Look, I like the game a lot. I need to try it again. Every time I play it, I have to open the rules and learn it from the beginning, because I just cannot retain anything from this game. There's just so much going on. And that's a problem. But I do enjoy it once I get through that.
Yep. All right. Oops. Let's go to next one. My number 17, let's get back to a really small box, which is called Insider, and it's a party game. Look, Insider, I liked it much more, quite a few, not years ago, but at some point I liked it much more, but I played it a ton, and I played it a lot of people. It works with everyone, but it's a word guessing game with timer and with the different roles, and there's the hidden role of Insider, and the Insider is the one that needs to help the team to uncover the words, but he needs to do it in a way that nobody understands that he's helping or she's helping. So they try to kind of implement their logic into the other players, because they know the words, but they need to show that they know I'm just a commoner. I'm nobody. So it's cool, it's fast, you can play many rounds in a row. It's group dependent, because sometimes Insider can be really bad at it, or sometimes the word is not so good to hint on. Not all the words are great to play with. I mean, like some of the words like culture, how you get to culture or something like that, or something, other cultural aspects. It's really hard to hint towards that. It's a living, like you ask question, is it a living object? No. Is it a stone? No. You know, like it's really hard to get to those questions, to get to those words. But if the group is right, if the word is right, it's a blast. Sure. If not, it's not so good.
Yeah, it's a good game. And its size is very nice, right? It's tiny. It was kind of done a little bit better by Werewords, which really just kind of re-implemented it. But still, if you want the simple version, this is definitely it.
Yep. All right, my number 69 is a Yahtzee game called King of Tokyo. And I would go with King of New York as well here. But if I look,
they're the same.
They're almost the same. The problem is, I don't want to say they're the same, because if a person goes
they're
with
extremely similar.
Yeah, if the person goes with a vibe of having if I say like this, King of Tokyo is a really easy game, where you roll the dice, you're trying to get the certain symbols, and you can attack, you can collect points, you can collect power-ups and whatever, the powers, etc., to become better. Getting into Tokyo, collecting points, blah, blah, blah. There's not much to it. King of New York adds those buildings and extra rules that sometimes don't work with all the people. It becomes a more complicated King of Tokyo, which it doesn't need to be. And you can just buy the expansion for King of Tokyo, the power-up expansion, whatever the decks for each monsters that if you roll the hearts, you can get the special cards that are your own, which is cool. Play with that. Halloween costumes, okay. I don't know. It's just a simple game that works.
It is. It's good.
Yeah. So, but Kyle is gonna be out for a moment.
For just a moment. I'll be right back.
While you go away, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
Next game is Histrio. So, number 68 is Histrio. Histrio is a game, or like I like designer Bruno Catala, and he's done it with the Christian Martinez. And Historia is a game of outgazing, outsmarting your opponents. You want to get to those different rows of cards, columns of cards. And if you go there alone, you grab everything. If you go there with somebody else, you get nothing, but you can get some consolidation prize as well. And you're trying to change the mood of the king, so you can score your cards, etc. It's just the simplicity of the game, it's just the beauty of the game, and some of the special abilities, and this cool mechanic of where will everybody else go. Oh, there are a ton of cards, cool cards right there, so probably everybody will go there. Or maybe everybody thinks that everybody will go there, so nobody will go there. Hey. So I'm trying to explain the history a little bit. But yeah. This is the nicest part, the mechanic of trying to understand where everybody else will go, and then your thought loops and loops, and then you're trying to, like, you think about, you go here, you go here. Oh, you have muted yourself.
Yeah, just because I was making some noise.
Oh my god.
And I didn't want to interrupt you, but thank you for pointing it out.
Yeah. Anyway, Historia, my number 68.
Yeah, this is not one that I have played, right? I don't know if it was the name that didn't do it for me. I know it has that interesting flipping stage, but I don't know. I've not played it. I might someday if it were somewhere and I was there and we didn't know what else to do, but it just doesn't call to me.
Okay. All right, so my number 67 is called Cartographers. Yes, Cartographers, a cool game that I also played as a solo game, and I enjoyed it as a solo game. But it's basically, you can have the colored sheets, you can have and colored sheets, but basically this is a game where you are flipping the card. It gives you the shape that you can write down, and then you are drawing those shapes onto your kind of a board or your sheet of paper. And there are different scorings that's going on, like this needs to be next to that, and this cluster of the forest will score you this if it's connected to another cluster of forest, whatever, it's if the mountains are if the water is next to the edge of the map, it will score you, or all the diagonal full or the full diagonals will score you points, etc. So it's a puzzle. It's a polyominoes puzzle through drawing.
Yes, it is.
That works for me. Mm-hmm. Maybe because it's drawing, maybe because you draw the cards and then you all choose and things. But it's a multiplayer solitaire game, and I just like it.
It's really good. It's very compact. It's easy to teach. It works with so many people. I really enjoy this one. It was a surprise hit for me. It's in the role player universe, but that does not really mean anything because it has nothing to do with that game. But I really like this one, and I'm excited for the expansion that should be coming this year.
Yep. All right, something going on behind the scenes there, Kyle. Some of these crackling things. All right.
Yes, that's why I was muting myself, but I got called out for that.
That's right. You can get back if you need to comment on something. Okay. Weird. Number 66, Wildlands.
Ooh.
Yeah, Wildlands is Windlands.
What?
I wrote Windlands. Windlands is another game. Wildlands is a miniature type game where you are going around the boards and trying to punch others and getting the crystals of your own, or trying to punch others into the face so you can get them as trophies or something like that. So you can get basically points out of that. If you get to a certain amount, you win the game. I like the placement, the initial placement, the setup of the game, where you need to kind of decide where your things go and where the other players' things go. And the initial setup is a strategy on its own. And it's a simple game of multi-use cards. Just works. I like Wildlands.
I really wanted to like it, and I'm hoping maybe the new version or something is going to fix some of my issues, but I just had too many usability issues with this game and did not. They just took the experience down for me so much that I ended up not liking a game that I think, by all rights, I probably should have loved.
Yeah, the part about that one is that's not so cool is the interruption action, which
There's
works.
the interruption action, which is fine, right? It's annoying, but it's fine. But the numbers on the board are just sort of in a random system. They don't make any sense, so it's difficult to find things. So you spend a lot of time looking around for things. I mean, the numbers could have been in order. That doesn't matter. And the pictures on the character cards don't match the minis. There's just, so you're always wondering, is this the right one? Is that the right one? I mean, that's ridiculous. There's not a symbol to identify them. There's just no way other than like, okay, I think I remember that this one is this. There were just so many problems with it that could have been thought through, right? It's a nice production. It's not like it's a cheap design. And then the expansions didn't come with extra rings, so you have to take the rings off the minis if you want to play with one of the expansions, and they don't come off easily. There's just so many issues with the game, physical issues, that could have been streamlined, could have been made easier, and I would have loved the game.
Yeah, but I still argue that there are quite a few games that even you enjoy that are rather ugly or have issues with components, but they are so good.
There are some.
Like Terraforming Mars is not
but Terraforming
functional.
Mars is not beautiful, but everything works.
It's not functional, no, for me not. That's why it's so low on my list.
I find them. I find that one, everything sort of fits together. It doesn't look great, but you're not sort of wondering, okay, what does this do? Or, this piece, is it this one or is it that one? Everything sort of is clear. With this game, there were just, I don't know. I don't have any problem.
I mean, I can see those, but they were not so big problems for me. So, all right, let's go to the next one, which is number 65, Scoville. Scoville, a pepper game.
That's what it is. It's the pepper game.
Scoville, and you can get the labs as well. It's fine. Scoville, you are
okay.
Why it's with cubes? What's going on here?
What? Scoville doesn't have cubes.
What is going on here?
That's a disappointing Scoville. That Scoville makes me sad.
I think it's the... Look at this one. Yeah, I think it's the self-made version. But Scoville, you are getting the peppers, planting the peppers. You're planting them in such a way that your gardener goes through them and crisscrosses them, and then makes new peppers out of them. And then you need to fulfill the orders which have certain peppers on them, and you're trying to get to the better and better peppers, which will score you more and more points. It's as easy as it sounds. It's just get the peppers, plant them, then just breed them, and throw them out into these recipes and some smaller cards, like market cards, whatever they are, and then just score points. As easy as it is.
It is easy, except the way that you get the peppers, right? That part takes a little bit of thinking, and it can be a little bit more interactive than maybe some people enjoy. In fact, I know this from experiences, right? Because the way you get the peppers is you move your guy, and he can't turn around except once per game. And you can easily block somebody from getting what he needs by standing in the right place, which is a design choice, and it's one that I enjoy, but some people do not.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, let's go to number 64. My number 64 is another huge game that I want to be reprinted, revised, and made into a better one. Because I've heard Clash of Cultures, for example, is getting a reprint. And maybe they are changing few things. So I thought maybe this game will also get a reprint and be a much better experience. But it's still a great one. It's Merchants and Marauders, number 64.
Yeah.
Look, I really like the... I played video games about the the pirates and what I don't remember, Port Royal. So I don't remember whatever they called, but basically you're roaming around the sea, and then you're going to the cities, and then you're going to find the treasures, and then you are trading as well. Then you can hunt the other ships and become a pirate or become a trader or corsair or whatever. It's such a sandbox game here as well, but it's still restricted. It's long. It has some rules issues. It's convoluted. It's complicated. The NPC thing needs to be revised, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And one part that I don't enjoy nowadays about games are going to the certain amount of points. Here, it didn't bother me that much. Usually, I don't like race to the point. I don't like whoever gets to that amount of points wins the game. It just it's stupid because I wanna have the freedom of building my own thing in my own pace, and I'd rather have a certain amount of rounds so I can. Okay, so we play for 10 rounds, and whoever has accumulated the most money out of that wins. That would be much better. In that case, these are my choices where I go, what I do, and if I chose poorly by getting this or by setting a strategy that needs me 11 rounds instead of 10 rounds. That's my choice. That's what I did. But this race to the points, somebody at some point can do something like that, and then they win. Frustrating. But here it didn't bother me that much, and I really like the sandbox nature of that. The piracy and trading and blah blah, getting the resources from that island to the other island, getting the money out of that. I don't know. It's just cool. Much is more.
I like this game. I like it. I remember it was one of the first real sandbox do whatever you want games. And I remember it was so long. That's like the two things I remember. I remember really liking it. I liked the freedom and the choices you had, but I just hated the length. And also there was some sort of turn imbalance, right? You could do some things on your turn that were really fast, and then somebody else does something else that just takes forever.
You have some action points, and
right.
Sometimes if you have to move somewhere further, then one of your turns could be just move my ship 3 times. That's it.
Yeah. Where if somebody else goes into the port and does a full round of trading and ship improvements and all these things, it could mean that if I'm doing an action that's fast, my turns are over, and then somebody else does an action that's naturally slower. It could be a frustrating sort of imbalance in turn length, which combined with a very long game can be frustrating to some people.
Yeah, true. All right, let's go for the revised edition of that. So, my number 63 is a small game. Let's get back to the deck building with push a luck, which is Flip City. Flip City, in my opinion, is a rather unusual deck building game. Not so highly rated, and I can see some people not liking that, but I do really like the push a luck aspect of it, where you are getting out those cards, and they have those frowny faces, and you're trying to get not too many of them, but you can also negate them. You can build some buildings out that will help you out, but it's not like you're building those buildings and then you have them in front of you for the rest of the game. It's a deck building game. You put those cards out one by one, trying not to get busted like in Mystic Vale, and then you use those different coins that you got to buy new cards and better cards, so you can, for example, hold more frowny faces in your tableau, and then eventually, and then once you're done on your turn, you collect those cards, they go away. So it's not like you are constantly building. You're constantly building a new small town.
Right.
Kind of feels like
I
that.
like the game in concept, but it is fragile in execution, right? Because the facing of your cards matters. It's very easy to pick the cards up wrong and accidentally flip some over. It just requires constant attention to some of the sort of mechanisms that are mechanisms in this game, but are just sort of thoughtless actions in others. And because
Yeah.
of that, if you're not playing it with the right people who are going to be able to monitor that themselves, it can be a frustrating game because it can break very easily.
I can see that. I can totally see that. Yeah, I didn't mention that cards are double-sided, and you can flip them for a certain amount of coins, so they become a better card. But then you can also use some special abilities that they can pick up a usual card again, and then how you flip those cards, whatever. I just always, when I played, I always held the deck of cards in my hand, something like that, and then just grab them from there. Yeah, that's it.
Sure.
All right, let's go to the next game, which is another game of trying to figure out where will everybody else go so you can get the most out of your turn, which is the Grim Forest.
Oh.
Number 62 is the Grim Forest, and I do really enjoy this game for a reason of that. First of all, the mechanic of you have to choose if you like. There are a I don't find any. Let's put a hot. Okay, so
There you go.
Yeah, much better. Okay, so there are those locations that will produce resources each round, and then you need to choose if you will go to one of those 4 locations. They have resources, and you need those resources to build the different buildings. And once you have built a certain amount of different buildings, you end the game, and whoever has fulfilled whatever it is, wins the game. So basically, you want to build those buildings. But if you will not be the only one who goes to that certain locations to collect those resources, you have to share them. You have to divide them between you two. And if you go there alone, you get to grab all those resources, and that's the coolest part, trying to outguess your opponents, and then this one has 4 wood, and 4 wood is a lot, so maybe I'll go there. But I think everybody thinks about going there, so maybe I won't go there. And then some other person is also thinking so I think nobody will go there because they think that everybody will go there, so they will not go there, so I will still go there. All this constant
Right.
looping of those things going on there. So I like that.
Yeah,
And
it's an
building
interesting
yourself
game.
up. And you have those helper cards, and friend cards, etc. that you... fable cards and friend cards. These are special abilities, and then at some point you can get the friend cards, which is your special ability, but it can be forced upon you to change your friend into a new one, and you have to accept. And then sometimes somebody will make you discard your previous friend, which was really cool for you, and get the friend which is not so beneficial for you. I like that. It's a little bit of take that, but not in a not in a way of I'm gonna destroy your house.
Right.
I'm not destroying the house. I'm just taking away the ability that benefits you the most and replacing it with the less. Helping you, yes. So I like that, and it's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful production. Amazing.
It's in a huge box, though.
Yeah, because of the miniatures.
It doesn't fit on any shelf.
All right, so let's go to number 61, which is another 2-player game, and I liked it more before, but I still do enjoy it. It just maybe I don't like the other side that much. It's Raptor, and Raptor, I like to play as scientist trying to catch dinosaurs. I don't like to be eaten. That's so you can be sure about that. But with Raptor, don't you dare touch my babies. That's my photo. So with Raptor, you have this outguessing, outsmarting your opponent going on. You have those cards in your hand, which are the numbered cards, and we have special abilities. And I don't remember what way was it, but basically, if you put those cards down, you reveal them at the same time. The bigger number gets, I think, the difference.
The bigger number gets the ability, I think.
I think the lower numbers get the ability.
Lower numbers the ability. The bigger is the difference in action points. That's right.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, I don't remember exactly in what way, but this is cool because sometimes if you put 1 and the other person puts 9, they get a ton of action points. They can do everything now, but you get only just 1 cool ability. So you're trying to find that sweet spot where you're not gonna get caught into
Right.
that situation. But yeah, you're trying to catch the raptors, or as a scientist, or as a raptor, you're trying to protect the babies and eat the scientists. As easy
Yeah,
as it is.
and the card sort of, it's not as imbalanced as it sounded when you say, well, if you play a 9, you play a 1, because you don't pick up your cards all the time, right? You only pick them up at certain points, and so you can kind of keep track of what other people might still have. And
Yeah, that's true.
Make an
Yeah.
informed choice. So I like the game a lot. What I don't like is the way that the cards are sort of just with symbols that don't always make sense, and so there's a whole lot of, okay, what is my... Now, I know there's only 9 per side, but that is, 9 per side plus all of the different actions that you have to keep track of. And so it's a game that's, again, a little bit harder to teach than it might otherwise have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
Text on cards is just a whole lot easier to use.
All right, so let's go to the next one. Number 60 is another Alex Kevin game called Gold West. And I do enjoy Gold West a little bit more. That's another game where I was like, that's a good designer. He's doing really cool, different designs.
This one sure is ugly, though.
Yeah, I don't find it so ugly, though. I find it colorful. I mean, like, it's not beautiful, but I find it very colorful. The thing about this one, though, the Gold West, is I said that he does something different. He does something really classic, because all these games, all the Euro games, they try to do a twist. This one is just a streamlined, smooth, this golden middle road experience of a Euro game. You do some of these mechanisms and you grab that, a little bit of not area control, but basically building up your area of your tents and houses, eventually getting the resources. And there's the Mancala mechanic where you are grabbing the resources and then dropping them one by one until you get to the last section of the board. And then you can use those resources and you have to build stuff each time, and you're trying to get the most points. It's like a points on game. You move that on the track, you get more points. You move this one, you get more points. You cover this one, you get more points. Blah, blah. So, just works.
Yeah, I put that one. So while you're talking, I'm keeping a list of the games that I haven't played in a long time that I need to try again. So I just put this one down. I remember thinking it was a very interesting game. Although I don't think it's all that great looking, but the rules are pretty simple. And I remember enjoying the experience quite a lot.
Yeah. It's I don't want to say it's beautiful or like great looking, but I like the vibrance, the colors. It doesn't get in the way of the mechanics. I mean, it's a smooth, straight point hero game, and it just feels and looks like that. So
yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one, which is number 59. A more thematic game, in my opinion, and underappreciated game called Age of Thieves.
Okay. You're on your own on this one.
Age of Thieves, yeah. Look, this one, you haven't played that one, yeah?
No, I've never played this one. This is one that you talk about a lot, and I have I don't know that I've even ever seen it.
Look, the board might be a little bit difficult to navigate itself. It has a ton of colors. It should be muted a little bit more, and all the different points and roads and things should be more stand out more. But it's fine. Once you get into it, you're fine. In this game, you have different cards in front of you, which are your kind of actions that you can do, different stuff that you can do, and you have a certain amount of cubes, which are your action points. And it's the same as with like the dungeon pets, where you are allocating those cubes. The more cubes you allocate, the earlier in the turn you will go. And there's also NPC, which are guards, and they move as well. So you kind of see like, okay, so the guard has a action point of 3. So if I want to move before the guard, I have to put like 4 cubes on that action, on the movement action, so I can move before the guard moves. Otherwise, he will catch me, etc. And you're trying to get those little like small crystals and things and stuff, and get more abilities and cards, and then getting this big crystal. This big crystal basically triggers an alarm, and then every part of the city except one, so basically one side of the city will be not locked, so you have to escape through that, so you can score your crystals and things that you're a thief, basically trying to think. And there's a little bit of take that, you can mess with other players here, but not like just attacking them all the time. But you can, for example, there are like things like hooks or something like that, the card called hooks, where you can grab a crystal, you can hook a crystal from another person while you're running. So you can use the tunnels and things. So it's like a movement on the board going on. It's cool. I like that. And how you escape, how you score, and just this cool part about outguessing, outsmarting. Who will put how many action points on what action, where they will move, how they will do that. Just works.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I've never tried it. Other than you, I've never even heard anyone talk about it. So this is one of those games it's very much a you game.
Yeah.
Doesn't look bad, although I don't know that I love the thought of grabbing stuff and running by. I mean, that was my least favorite part of Fireball Island as well.
Yeah, but this one, the thing is that you can mess with other players through going somewhere before them or something like that. You know, it's like messing them up. You can do that still, but
okay.
Anyway,
well,
let's
someday.
go.
I'm not putting that one on the list.
So, number 58 is a game called Cooper Island that I played on the cruise.
This
Cooper
one I
Island,
have played.
Yeah, Cooper Island is a rather complicated, as you can see, a ton of stuff going on, a rather complicated Euro game. Your board is full of different symbols and stuff, and it looks overwhelming at first, but you are basically going around these islands on your board. You have worker placement spots. The cool part about that is you're building those tiles on your island, and you can build tiles upon tiles, and so you can grab more and more resources, etc. So you can use them in different other parts. It's a cogwheel kind of a type of Euro game where this cog moves another cog, and that cog moves another cog, and etc. You like the chains and things are connections that are in this game. They all work together, and you need to find out the best way to make them work in your benefit.
And it has an interesting score track. That's what I like about it, right? I mean, it makes the score track something more interesting. Just because as you're building those sort of the double tiles, they cross out into the water. And when you move across them, you're going to get some kind of a bonus. And if you get far enough ahead, you get the same ones your opponent put down. It just makes that part a little bit more interesting than it usually is in a game. This is a game that will melt people's brains at some points. I mean, I've played this game with people that play a lot of games, and they found some of the sort of processes to be a little too heavy. Once you learn them, it starts to make a bit more sense, but there's a whole lot of rules that are just kind of there for the sake of being there, and maybe they're there for game balance or something, but it doesn't make a lot of intuitive sense. So it's definitely one that you kind of have to play twice to really get a handle on, but I really enjoy this one.
Yeah. I need to play it more. I need to understand the... I don't even remember some parts of the game.
Yeah, well, I'm not putting it on my list just because I'm kind of making... I would like to play it again, but this one requires... I really want to play it with somebody who already knows it, rather than teach it to somebody new.
All right, so my next game, number 57, is Santorini. Santorini, a simple, abstract game building up your city of buildings of 3 floors, so you can get your meeple on the 3rd floor and win the game. Cool part about that one is that you have those god powers, and they feel overpowered to you or to your opponent, but they also have that kind of a different power that also feels overwhelming, overpowered, and then you're trying to kind of balance it out with your play, like you're trying to, and it's you can play it with 3 or 4 players, but it's a 2-player game basically. Played with 2, and it's fast. it's chess-like, but it's a 3D chess-like. You know, you're trying to outsmart your opponent by building here and moving here and using your ability to the maximum as you can, and blocking other players, building those domes so you can block them.
Yeah,
it's just an abstract game that works, and trying to find the picture of those gods as well. Yeah, you can see.
Yeah, when we were talking about Onitama earlier, I said, you know, I don't usually get excited about abstract games. That's very much not the case with Santorini. I really like this one. I find it's one that I'm always eager to play.
Yeah, that's the one that just works. Though, there is a problem I wanted to point out. And the problem is, this game is... because it's so strategic and it's a spatial puzzle, as it is, and having those special abilities as well can also add to the difficulty of thinking, you know, about the spatial puzzle. It's not a difficult game rules-wise, but if another player is more skillful, and if one of the players is not so good at those spatial puzzles, they can be good at other games, you know, but it's just not the game where you can always outsmart them. It's so skill dependent.
That's right, because there aren't very many rules, right? I mean, there's so little space to maneuver that the player who's more experienced or better with that kind of thing will generally do much better. So
that's where my excitement goes away. If I win like 5 times, we play 5 times in a row, I win all 5 times, I can see that person will never win me, because they just don't see those moves I see, you know, and it's frustrating. I want them to see those moves and have bigger challenge. So etc. Or the other, vice versa, you know. If I'm gonna lose 5 times in a row, I'm gonna feel frustrated, because I don't see those moves that the other players see. So, yeah.
Sure.
All right, let's go to number 56. I'm surprised that this game is so high on my list, but as I told you, it's nostalgia. It's another philosophy I have behind this list than any other top 10 list, for example. And my number 56 is Mice and Mystics.
Oh.
And Mice and Mystics has given me a ton of great playtime, many great stories, and it just... Mice and Mystics is an experience. It is a story. It is... the game mechanics, they are rather simple, but there's a ton of rules. And for example, what I do, we put in some of the... what I did. We put in some of the house rules about the cheese wheel. I don't remember what exactly, but we made the game a little bit easier so we can enjoy the story and the process more. But constantly, the biggest problem is that this game can be long, because constantly rolling the dice, and it's so luck-based. It just... I go here, I roll the dice. I go here, I roll the dice. The world itself is just so evocative. The world itself is just so cool. That gives me a great story. With the storybook, of course.
Right. Yeah, it's a great experience. I think it's kind of done, right? I don't know that there's going to be anything new from this world, because that's partially because so much effort, I think, went into creating it. It does have, the 2 expansions, and that's a lot of story. So,
yeah.
But I've enjoyed it a lot.
All right, number 55, another two-player game that I like more than Raptor and Santorini, as I understood. That's Seven Wonders Duel.
Oh.
And Seven Wonders Duel, this is my way of... look, this game gives me a choice. I get to a certain amount of symbols, like race to the points kind of a thing also. Not like race to the points, but this one is race to the certain winning condition, then I win the game. And I don't like that usually in games, but in this one, it works because I have another condition and then another condition. So either I move on that military track to the end, or I collect a certain amount of science symbols, or we just build our tableaus up.
Right.
And then score points at the end of the game. And mostly it's score points at the end of the game. And then you build those wonders that give even more. It's Seven Wonders, but it's as a two-player, faster game without this kind of a... I don't like drafting. I don't like the usual drafting. This one is almost like drafting, but drafting from the center. You're not so convoluted by that, and also you are always engaged with other person, not with someone else. If you play as a 5-player game, I don't care what that fifth person does. I just don't care. I don't even care what my neighbors do, really. Maybe one of them. I don't like. I'm not the. I don't know. I just don't like some others. But this one worked for me, and I like okay. So if I grab this card, then this one will uncover that hidden card, or maybe there's a science symbol that he really needs. Boom. Maybe I shouldn't take that card, but I need this card because I need the resources, Yeah.
I really like this game. I actually have the most recent expansion on its way. Finally, I don't know why I hadn't ordered it. I think I was just waiting for something else that I wanted to buy. And so I'm excited to try that. I like the first expansion as well, although... The downfall of this game is the same one that's with a lot of other games, is just the fact that so many things are symbol-based and the symbols don't always make a ton of sense, and so there is a little bit of a disconnect or a pause in game flow as you have to kind of pull out the cheat sheet, which has some of them but not all of them, and so it can really, that can get in the way. Once you've played it a few times with the same person, then you sort of remember what everything does, and that problem works itself out. But for teaching the game, some of that can get in the way.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. We're almost done, though.
We're not almost done. We have another 50 to go after we're done.
Almost done with that episode.
We're done for today. There you go.
Almost. Anyway, number 54, another game to talk about that you didn't like that much, which is TOP100, number 54. Yeah. TOP100 is about the moles that are trying to create line of sight between each other. And the cool part about that is that you have those various decks of cards, and you can mix and match them. Some of them are more mean cards, some of them are more tactical, some of them more strategic, defensive, etc. So you can have a game where if you know that some of your play group, they don't like take that in games, you can take it out and create a more tactical game without take that, or you can create a lot of take that, etc. And you're trying to get those moles out, create line of sight between them in a straight line, and then get the most points. That's it. It's just the abilities of the cards and mixture of those cards that makes it a cool game.
Yeah, this is a game that you really liked, and you know what, maybe I need to give it another chance someday if I see you, but it just didn't do it for me. I just was underwhelmed by it.
When I played it again, I realized that I don't like... I liked it much more. It would be like 54, it would be like maybe in my top 30. I liked it less when I played it again. Yeah. But still, I really appreciated the design. I still liked it. It was cool. It just maybe at that time it didn't work with that particular group. So,
and maybe that was what I only played it the one time with you, I think, and it wasn't. It didn't speak to me. But hey, you obviously really like it because it shows up on a lot of your lists.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. My number 53 is a game that I excluded, though they are not same game. This one has replaced Mysterium for me, and that's Obscurio 53. They're not the same game. Obscurio has a time element, the speed to it, the traps, traitor as well. So it's not really the same. They are different, but they have the same vibes. They have the same
deliver
kind of
the same
feel.
experience.
Yeah, deliver the same experience. But this one does it in a more evocative way, in an action-packed way. I'm sorry, I didn't put Obscurio. This one, yeah, because I told you this one has the time element to it. It's faster, it's engaging. You're always engaged in conversation, choices, etc. And those different traps, how you put out those doors and you need to find the right door. There's a traitor among you that needs to choose a card that is so similar to the door that needs to guess. And it's a mess, not as rules. It's a mess as kind of a, I need to find the right way. What do I do? And it's
right.
It just works.
It's an interesting game, and I do like some of the ways that things work. I love the little red lens that you put over the cards, which, there's like a cloudy lens, I think, too, and it kind of obscures the way that clues are given and the way that people think about things. That part I enjoy. I don't know that it's better than Mysterium, although Mysterium has some weird rules in it too. So but they kind of all feel. I don't know. It just feels like the same game, even though I will admit it is a different game. But it just sort of this whole weird picture, try and pick something aspect comes through as well in this one as it does in Mysterium.
With Mysterium, I played it a ton, and I really enjoyed Mysterium. The older version and the newer, not the new West version that they have, the Mysterium Park, whatever.
Mm-hmm. I didn't play that
one. But I mean, like the older, like the Asmodee version, the more beautiful version of Mysterium. Eventually, I got a little bit tired of that because it's a slow game. It can be slow.
It is very slow.
It can drag if the person just doesn't know what to give to the other person. The ghost can become like AP, and then you're just waiting. And if you're playing with a ton of players, you're just waiting.
Sure.
This one, it just boom, 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 constantly some action, let's go, next action,
Right.
So I like that. All right, let's go to number 52. My number 52 is Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Castles of Mad King Ludwig, I like it more than like they were compared to Suburbia. Kinda. I don't like Suburbia that much. I like Castles of Mad King Ludwig. I didn't back the huge version. I don't feel like I need it. I don't have Castles of Mad King Ludwig in my collection anymore. But I would gladly play it if somebody would say, let's play it, Because I like building the castles up. I like taking those tiles. I like putting them out in the auction. That's the most AP part of the game where you're trying to find the right spots for those. I mean, not find, but you're trying to manage those different prices on those different tiles. You don't want to put that tile too high on a price list because nobody will buy it and you will not get any money this turn. But that's the only turn where you get money and not spend it. So you need to be wise where you
waste
put
the turn.
Yeah, but you don't want to do that. So, and I like building up. I just like this one builds the next room and this triggers that room and points and etc. things. So they trigger some special abilities if you close all the doors. And they give you some extra bonuses, extra actions, extra things. It's just building this crazy castle in a way that you want is fun.
It is. I enjoy the game a lot. I played it recently after we talked about the Kickstarter for the new one, and it holds up pretty well. The expansion that it got was a little bit, I don't know. It added a lot more rules without adding a lot more fun. But the base game I really enjoy.
Yeah. All right, and we go to the final one today.
Ooh.
Number 51 is Off the Rails. Off the Rails, yeah, it's not so great looking game because of a lot of purple. And I talked to the designer and they said, yeah, I love purple. I see. That's your love purple.
I've not played this one, so.
This one is cool because it's also an easygoing game.
Purple.
Yeah, it's easygoing game. We need to get those certain crystals, and they give you points. There are better and like more valuable, less valuable crystals, but you can also get coal in the way. The cool part is that you're building those different rails, and you can upgrade them into T-junction rails, etc., and so on. You are putting those cards out, and those cards have the dice, and pips are a speed it's a speed limit basically. This card will move 3, and it has to move exactly 3 because it has 3 pips. This one will move 2 because it's 2, you know. You cannot move less than that, and you need to use some of your actions to make the card slower or faster. I need to be very wise about, because you can get off the rails, as the name suggests.
There you go. There you go.
if you have too high of a speed, you can go off the rails, and then you lose your crystals and things. You can bump into each other and lose the crystals that way, but it depends how you bump. If you bump on the side, like only that person loses some crystals, etc. They fall out of the card, you know, kind of. So, and the cool part about that is that when you go out with that card, you will collect the crystals that you get on the way. You will grab them while you're riding over them. You'll get them to the sides of that board, to your kind of what's called your space. But you will not get them into your stockpile where you can score them at the end of the game until this card rides out of the board.
Okay.
So that's a cool part. So you have a ton of cool cards, and then the other person just makes it so they bump into you, and you lose those crystals, and it's just fun.
Okay. I know nothing about this game other than what you've just said, so may have to try it someday.
Someday. All right, so that was 51.
That's a lot of games.
That's a lot of games. And here we are. It's the end of the episode 33, my top 100 through 51. And in 2 weeks, we're going to get to real games, to cool games. This were garbage, and now we're going to get to some.
Yeah. Some of them definitely were.
Don't you dare. But there are some really cool games coming up, especially my top 30. Really cool games to talk about. I'm sure you're going to agree on many of them.
We'll see.
Yeah. So,
I got to do a top 100 list again. It's about time, but we'll wait until a little later.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you another time. Have a blessed evening or morning, whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
Depends where you live.
Well, and it depends on when you're watching it.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.